All right, let's dive in. Today, we're going to talk about something that gets in the way for so many of us. We're going beyond self-doubt to talk about how to find the courage to just begin.
I mean, really think about that for a second. That big goal, that new skill, that life you're picturing. What if the biggest thing holding you back isn't your talent, or your time, or your money, but just a nagging little voice in your own head?
So let's call that voice what it is, right? It's self-doubt. And our goal here isn't to try and get rid of it completely, because that's probably impossible, but to learn how to move forward even when it's there.
Does this sound familiar? You get this flash of inspiration, this amazing idea, and you're pumped for like 5 seconds. And then the what ifs start pouring in. What if I fail? What if people think I'm an idiot? And just like that, poof, the idea's gone, put back on a shelf before it ever saw the light of day.
And look, we've got to be really clear about something. That feeling of being stuck, that's not laziness. Laziness is when you just don't want to do something. Self-doubt is when you desperately want to do something, but you feel like you just can't. That is a huge difference.
And here's the sneaky thing about self-doubt. It almost never shouts at you. It's not some big, dramatic moment. No, it's more like a constant, quiet whisper, just slowly chipping away at your confidence.
Oh, this one's a classic, isn't it? That feeling that you just need one more online course or to read one more book. Then you'll be ready. But really, it's not preparation. It's just hiding.
And then there's the comparison trap. You start looking at everyone else who's already doing what you want to do, and instead of getting inspired, you just feel behind. You're comparing their highlight reel to your behind-the-scenes mess.
And this is the whisper that seals the deal, the ultimate excuse. It sounds so reasonable, right? I'll get to it when the time is right. But let's be honest, when is the time ever perfect? Never.
And this is the real danger. It's not one big failure. It's the slow-motion cost of doing nothing. A day of hesitation doesn't feel like a big deal, but those days turn into months. And pretty soon, years have gone by. And that amazing idea, it's not a dream anymore. It's a regret.
Okay, so this brings us to this crazy, frustrating cycle that so many people get trapped in. We're all waiting for this magical feeling to show up before we give ourselves permission to start.
You know the feeling? You're scrolling through your phone and you just see it everywhere. People are launching that business you talked about or creating the art you dreamed of. They're out there actually doing it.
And for a split second, it's so painfully clear. You see that it's possible. You see other people, just like you, making it happen. And that question just hangs there in the air. Why not me? And it hurts, because you don't really have a good answer.
But what happens in that moment? Instead of that sting pushing us to act, what do we usually do? We fall right back into the loop. We keep scrolling, which just makes us feel worse. We overthink it until we're completely paralyzed. And we keep telling ourselves the same story. I'll start when I feel more confident.
But what if? What if we've been looking at this whole thing completely backwards? This is it. This is the one idea that can break that entire cycle.
This is so important. We think we need a big dose of confidence before we can take action. That's the myth. But the truth, the reality, is that it's the exact opposite. You take one small, clumsy action, and that action creates a tiny spark of confidence. Confidence doesn't come first. Action does. Seriously, just picture someone you really admire for their confidence. I guarantee you they weren't just born that way. They got confident by doing things that terrified them. They felt unready, they felt like an imposter, but they started anyway. That's the only difference. They started. Okay, so theory is great, right? But what do we actually do? How do we make this real? What's the plan for the very next time that voice of self-doubt pops up? Here's your simple 3-step toolkit. Number 1, forget about perfect. Perfect is a trap. Just aim for a tiny bit of progress. Number 2, make the first step so ridiculously small it's almost silly. Don't start a business, research one competitor. Don't write a book, write one sentence. And number 3, you gotta make this your mantra. I don't need to be ready, I just need to begin. And this is the mindset shift that makes it all possible. You have to reframe what failure means. Trying something and having it not work out isn't the real failure. The real failure is never even trying in the first place.
So let's bring this all home. This whole thing, it isn't about becoming fearless. It's about being scared and doing it anyway. That's what courage is.
And I promise you this, one day you're going to look back on whatever you're scared of right now and you'll realize the overthinking, the anxiety, almost all of it was just packed into that moment right before you started. Getting started is the hardest part.
So please, stop waiting. Confidence isn't just going to show up at your door one day, and nobody's going to tap you on the shoulder and say, okay, you're officially ready now. You have to be the one to give yourself permission.
It really all just boils down to this. One simple word. Try. Not perfectly, not fearlessly, just try. Even when you're scared. Even when you have no idea what you're doing.
Because here's the secret. Self-doubt is incredibly powerful, but only when you're standing still. The second you take a step, any step, it starts to lose its grip. So the only question that really matters now is, what's your first move?